First of all, Bianca, welcome to another quarter of welcome to 2025.
Yay. Yeah, you too.
What happened in L&D over the past few months? I forget if we did a Q3 one or not, but since the last time I saw you, what has been happening in L&D?
So there's been a lot of changes in the past year for implementation. We've created migrating learning paths, two learning paths, one for the admins or managers or admin owners, just depending how much the owners are involved, and also all the for another learning path um, for all employees. And so we've implemented those. They're using them right now. One of our focuses for implementation is to review that feedback, be part of the implementation process as far as being able to talk to customers, really get what their experiences and their expectations are for these courses. And these courses are taken before um, the implementation specialist talk to them or start their training. And so all of these courses really prep them, get them used to the environment and expose them to their product. So when they talk to our implementation specialists, they're maybe 10 steps ahead instead of having to start from ground zero. And so we just want to make sure that we're doing our part in making sure that our courses um, are getting them ready to start that training. And so that means that we're going to have some conversation with those implementation specialists, and we also want to be a part of that process as far as talking to the customers after the training to see really in hindsight how that experience helped, didn't help. But we want to make sure that our courses are ultimately helpful.
Yeah. So overall, it sounds like what it is it's going to make their experiences with our implementation team just that much more efficient because they're not having to like explain the languages and the ins and outs of like point of rental specific. They'll already be familiar with that, and then you can actually get into the hey, this is really how we're going to do these types of things in the software.
Exactly, exactly. So we'll show them around Elite. We'll show them the term, like you said, the terminology that we use, um, and so they'll know the basics. And when they start talking to the implementation specialist, hopefully our goal is that from that point they can start talking about how they can use the product for their business. So
Awesome.
it's not very generic, very focused on the customer and how they're going to use it or and should use it really. We're working through a lot of process changes within POR Academy. Most notably is that we've moved away from the storefront checkout experience to the catalog experience. So that takes the enrollment process for a user down by 5 clicks. So it used to be 5 clicks, now it takes one click.
All right. Well, one click
Yeah,
is better than five, I think, for most people.
absolutely. Yeah, I think at some point at the beginning of L&D and creating courses, there was an idea of selling them. So we put all of the courses in the storefront, and it's just something that, for whatever reason, wasn't changed. So the experience feels a lot like what it does internally, like when you guys go into and take courses and enroll in them, which I've heard a lot about, and I know it was frustrating, but we've gone through the change. Everybody's over to the catalog, and it's just a much smoother experience now.
How does the move from L&D into product affect how a user or a customer would experience anything? Does it affect that at all or no?
Yeah, so product, the only changes I think with product, we have a lot of access now to like the roadmaps and like whatever that those are created on. So that kind of helps us keep track of, what's coming down when, what's on the schedule, which is fantastic. But not too much has changed, but I would say there are a few benefits.
So it's more that you're like better able to prepare like timeline wise for like when something's coming out. It's like, okay, hey, we know this is coming out. It affects this and this. So you have the documentation, I guess, more thorough and more ready, like as soon as it's out, instead of like finding out maybe on short notice. I know sometimes we learn things on short notice, and it's like, oh, better make something happen real quick.
Exactly. And I think that's getting better. And I think, we've heard the feedback from the team members of departments who are really customer facing. And so that's something that we definitely want to address and continue to improve, because it's very important for us and everybody who's talking to the customers to know exactly what's coming out when, so that we're prepared for any customer questions.
Are there any like new courses or anything like you mentioned with POR Academy that enrolling is much easier, but have there been any additions or are there new entire like courses that you can take?
I would say we've recently updated some of our POR1 courses, which is fantastic. Product is working on updates in POR1 to be more persona focused. So, just the processes and flows within the app really would follow like a maintenance worker, somebody who was in a warehouse. And so we've updated some of those new features in our current videos. At some point, we do plan to get to those personas and hopefully create learning paths that are just for those personas and take them down exactly how they would be using the app. Um, Internally, we've created a course for all onboarding pointers, and so it lists out. It's called Product 101. Guess you need the name, but it lists out um, and all the products and kind of tells each key features of each product and the history behind them. So that way, when we have new employees coming on board, whether they're going to be talking to customers or not, they have a background of and an idea of what kind of products we have and what services we provide, and also what how the company and each department contributes to the success of each of those.
They will all have some level of knowledge of point of rental, and whether you're in accounting or marketing or you know, obviously support needs to know the software, but it's good for everyone to at least have some idea and sense of like, oh hey, I'm part of a bigger thing. I think.
Exactly. I think that that's exactly what it does. And we're all here and we all share a purpose. And I think we just play, each of us play a specific part, um, a role in the company. Yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you would like to tell point of rental customers or point of rental users that we haven't gotten to already?
Yeah. So we've heard all of y'all's feedback. We've heard your feedback on the uLearn search. So we're currently in redeveloping that search component. And from the changes that I've seen so far, I have already improved. It's not exactly where we want it just yet, but it's getting really close, which is super exciting. And so um, we expect that to be available by the end of this month, end of January. So we're very excited. We're also going to put in some feedback mechanisms. So if you're internally or if you're a customer and you're trying to search for something and you can't, there's going to be an option where you can submit a request to us, where we can look at your inquiry, your search, and we can optimize the search so that it works better the next time around. Um, so we're very excited about that because we know customers use it a lot. We know they rely on that. We know that our internal employees rely on that, our implementation and support teams. So we are excited to be releasing a new version of the search component.
Awesome. Well, it sounds good that the learning and developing team would want to continue learning and developing themselves and get that feedback and continue to improve.
Yeah. Yeah, and um, I just want to stress that we know exactly how much documentation and how much you guys rely on it, and so that is absolutely a priority for us. Um, and we've heard all your feedback, and we don't ignore any of it. And if you still have feedback, continue to send it my way, with or without the exclamation marks. We All feedback is good feedback.
Okay, I will send you some stuff with a bunch of exclamation marks, maybe some ones
There
and mixed in there. I'm letting you
you
know.
go.
I do have one additional question. How is documentation for like Series 365 and Series 365 Cloud coming along? Because I know that's kind of our newest thing over in the UK and the rest of the world. And I don't know how much we deal with that over here in the States.
Our product owners for Searings and Searings 365, they get those documentation ready and they send them over to us. So there is a growing library. They're on a schedule, and I think the schedule is going to change, but they're on a different release schedule. But I think we're going to be syncing up where everybody's releasing something in every 3 weeks, and so I think from that point, the release notes and all the documentation will be more consistent. But there is a library in there, but it is available to everybody.
Is there anything besides the reconfiguring of the uLearn search that's coming out in the next couple of months that like you're really excited about letting people know about?
I think the uLearn search is, yeah, that's the biggest thing. Definitely our priority. I wouldn't say anything more on that, but I will say internally that we're opening the door to more users who have product experience or work on a product to be able to um, edit and modify documentation. The documentation, they when they submit it to us, it still goes through an approval process. But now we'll have more hands in there. So when somebody comes across a typo or maybe just information that should have been deleted 2 years ago, now they can do that and quickly make those updates. So I think that just helps maintain that documentation, keep it current, and keep it relevant to customers. And so I think that the more hands that we have in there, the better quality our documentation becomes. And I think the better quality means just the it just increases the helpfulness of our articles internally and for our customers.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, when you have that level of documentation, there's no possible way a single person or even like a small group of people can possibly go
Right.
through every single part. And every time there's an update to the software, it usually affects other things. And it's like, okay, actually, that way it still works, but we really want people to do it this way because it's now better and more efficient. And we need to update that as well. And it's, yeah, having the community
Exactly.
work on it it sounds great.
Yeah, exactly. And believe me, I know we tried to work on it all on ourselves when L&D was smaller and part of support. We really took that on, but um, yeah, so it just makes more sense now. It's scalable. L&D, we make sure that the quality is there, that we have all the information for customers. So if somebody submits something regarding a feature in a new feature or an existing feature in the product, we make sure that that the steps to get there are included, how you set it up, and so we're our part specifically in that is um, the quality, making sure that all the information that is needed is present. Um, Not that you asked that question, but I think just the more information is better.
That's good. We do want learning and development team to think that more information is better.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you in a few months and seeing where L&D is growing and what's getting updated and the future of all documentation.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Brian, and stay warm.
We'll try.